Holy moly, round 7 teams. There's a lot going on in this one. Hopefully I don't miss any of it, but gee, there's some people that are going to be out through suspension. There's a bunch of guys that have been dropped. Obviously, Ricky Stewart came out and had a big statement last week about a few of these guys are just throwing on the jersey and not actually taking pride on it in their first grade spot, and he's wielded the axe with a few really big name players actually. So hope you guys enjoy this one. We'll get straight into the first game. That's the Panthers and the Knights, and Crichton still remains in the 1 jersey, and there's a small sign of Dylan Edwards in the number 21 jersey, also with Appy Coruscant in the 20 jersey. So, the question remains, are they going to be needed to come in and do really well and play in this game when they've gone undefeated so far and doing really well? I don't think they will be needed this week, but just make sure that Crichton gets the wing fullback centre duel for anyone who was worried about that one. Momorowski should be suspended, so he's named, but they're going to see how they go at the judiciary with that one. But the rest of the team stays very much the same, and still incredible how so far into the season again they still have basically minimal injuries compared to most other teams. Obviously they've had Edwards and Appy, but to keep the majority of the core together has been really good for them. On the Knights side of things, same top 7. The rest of the guys are completely normal there. So this is probably one of the only more relaxed games in terms of the types of players. With some of the fantasy relevant guys, Crichton, I wouldn't be trading out this week. I'd be giving him another crack. You can move him on after that if you please. Momorowski, if he's a 2-week out, I think you're definitely going to hold him. Burton's been really cool in the centres, but with Edwards coming back, you'd expect Burton to move either to the bench or out of the team indefinitely. And then you've got Brian To'o has been amazing. I think he's a really good option. Luai, not so great of an option. If you have him, you've got to hold on. Cleary, really good chance to get him in this week if you have a bunch of injuries, or I think people are trying to trade Latrell up to him somehow. But again, don't pull apart your team to get him, because it is coming to round 7 now, and you've got 6 games before the first bye, and he should miss about 3 games over that period, you'd imagine. So something to think about there. The rest of the guys, Kate Wells should be holding. Kickow, you could probably move on. I don't think he's a keeper, so I think you can move him on. And Spencer Leniu, if you want to get rid of him, you can, but you can also hold him there. He's not going to lose too much money, even if he's just sitting there. Knights side, Ponga's a great trade in this week. So is Bradman Best. Musgrove, wouldn't be trying to bring him in. They're a bit all over shop at the moment with their backs. He's cheap, but yeah. Brayley's been great. Frizzell, a lot of people interested in him now. He's had amazing starts of the year with a bunch of 70s, and then averaging 67 over the first 3, and then had a couple of low games before coming back with a 91. So for him, that's kind of where he's at. He has those games when they do well, he's one of the beneficiaries. He gets the early ball, gets a lot of attacking stats, and does well. When they don't do as well, he gets around that 40 mark, and that's very normal for these guys on the edge that aren't, they're not making 50 tackles a game, for example. So Barnett as well will play better when when the Knights are going better. He did look a lot better in terms of his injury on the weekend, so hopefully that continues for him. If you have him, Connor Watson was great. Keep playing him in your side. All right, let's go for Titans and the Bunnies, and not too much to talk about on the Titans side, apart from Tino being out this week, so should be out for a few weeks, and I think it's a really good time to move him on if you're looking to do that. Brimson, for those that have had him literally the whole season, I can understand your pain as to why you'd be looking to get rid of him. You can either do that. I think you can do either all 3 this week. You can do that. You can keep him and play him, or you can keep him and have him on the interchange bench. But I think for this week, if with Pap is out as well as Latrell, etc., if they're out, you've got to keep Brimson this week at least. So Kelly becomes a decent option. Didn't go very well on the weekend, but you'd hope the Titans start playing better. Obviously against the South, that might not happen. But same with Foggs. You've got to hold strong. And if he's someone that at his price point, if you have him at the moment, you can really, if he gets back to some consistent footy, you'll be able to propel up the ranks. And that's what I'm feeling with my team with Foggs at this stage. Sorry, guys. Still got the Curtis. Who else we got? Mo Fotuaika gets the start now. Fafita's still a gun. Peachy's still a gun in the centres. Get both of them in your team if you would like to. On the Bunny side, Colin Matangi is back for Jacob Host, which we thought would probably happen. The big one here is Dane Gagai has been moved from the centres to the wing, and that's really going to hurt his scoring, unfortunately, unless he gets a bunch of tries against the Titans this week. But yeah, you'd imagine that his work rate and the amount of ball he's going to get isn't going to be as much on the wing as it is in the centres. So that's really annoying. If you've got him, you've obviously got to hold. It should only be for the week or two that Johnson's out. I can't remember what it was exactly. But then the suspension. Oh, sorry, Johnson to 1, Latrell out. It's going to be for a few weeks. So if Gagai sticks at centre, at wing, that's really hurtful. Cody Walker's just not getting the points that he does, that he did last year. But Latrell didn't play a lot of last year, or didn't play very well. So Walker had to do a lot more of that kind of work that at the moment Latrell and him are switching between and both doing. So I feel like Walker, you could probably hold on to him a little bit more, as he's going to have to do a little bit more with Latrell out. That's something to think about. It might be worth giving it 1 week, especially against the Titans, who just got smashed against Manly last week. It's something to think about. Burgess has run for over 200 metres in both these games. Awesome work. Damien Cook, keep holding him. There's too many other issues in the team at this stage. Cam Murray, please hold him. He's doing well. He's going to have the up game. He's going to have the down game, which is around a 45-50. So that's about all with that one. Eels and Broncos. So Gutho's been awesome. Oppercheck's been really solid. Bringing Opper in, I'd probably go Jack Bird over Opper if I'm being honest. I have Opper myself, but I think Bird has more upside. Opper would be more consistent, I would say. But Bird has a history of doing what he's doing now. When he's fit and not injured, then he's going to be really good. Niokora should get his dual position this week. And yes, it's going to happen sometime tonight, if it hasn't already by the time this video comes out. Mitch Moses, I think, is a really clear trade in this week. If you are looking for a half, which should start getting moved into DPP, and you won't have to play him in the halves anymore, I think Moses is a great option going forward. He plays round 13, won't be playing Origin, so great option. Same with Reid Mane, who there's a chance he's Queenslander, correct? He might sneak into a 14 role if he keeps playing as he does. But yeah, something to think about with Harry Grant in number 9 jersey, you'd imagine. Isaiah Papali'i gets the start again. I think he's just a clear trade in now. I'm gonna get off my high horse and forget about the fact that I should have just known that Madison would be out for multiple weeks, and Paps would get 80 minutes and be able to have more of a chance of scoring high points. And when you get 80 minutes compared to that 50 or 55, even if it's on an edge, you're gonna get the opportunity to have 1 play or 2 plays a game where you get 10, 12, 15 fantasy points, or even more if you score a try, and he keeps doing that, and he's been incredible. So I think he's a clear trade-in for someone that's not going to play Origin, plays around 13. Get him in before he gets up over 800k. He's 770 already, which is a lot. So, not Madison side. They're actually being a little bit more careful with him and just saying, look, we're just going to make sure that you're completely right before you come back to the game. If someone's having concussion issues for longer than a week or two, then it's a real issue. It's like what Corden is going through and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really worried for Madison, and I think it's very smart to just leave him out of any of these lineups at this stage. All right, Broncos. Now I'm going to get annoyed. They signed Danny Levi. No. Why? Comes in straight into the 14 jersey, and you'd imagine Turpin loses some minutes now. He has to, unless he moves into the middle and plays the middle there, but he's not skillful enough to be able to play in that middle. If he had the McInnes style, or that kind of running work rate, or Damien Cook and these kind of guys who are a bit more skillful with the ball, I'd expect him to move to 13 and still play 80 minutes. But I think they've been waiting to have someone in this role for a while, and unfortunately, I'd assume Turpin would get 55 to 60 minutes now, and sorry, not a great week for him to be losing minutes when we have all these guys out of our squads at the moment. I don't really want to be trading Terps, unfortunately, but we might have to happen over the next few weeks, unless an injury or something pops up. But that's annoying for him. Payne Haas, I think he can wait a little bit longer as he's losing some cash. But if you want to get him in now, please do. Carrigan's a sell. Pangai Jr. He's a hold, definitely. Also you got Levi, Billy Moore, Ricky's on the bench as well. So for him, you can move him on if you like. You can keep him there, but I'd be expecting around that 20 minutes that he got last time going forward. All right, Sharks Bulldogs. Kennedy's been great. Don't bring him in though. Keep holding him until things change. I'd imagine he'll keep the fullback spot all year, or he should. Anyway, Johnson looks like he's a couple more weeks away. So he should have a few more good games from Townsend against the Dogs too. God, he's going to get 75. Ugh. You'll see the pain in my eyes that I didn't start with him. Anyway, Teague Wilton in the 12 jersey again. So he just managed to get week after week after week playing. So well done if you picked him up and you didn't take my advice, because I only thought he'd get 2 weeks. But as you said, these guys that are actually decent players that, injuries pop up and they end up playing more and more. Like, I actually was thinking back the other day that we could have just started with Schuster, Walker. Who else we had? Simkin. All these guys that we were thinking about starting with. If they got a start in round one, we all left them out of the team majoritively. I had Walker. I kept Walker in, but could have left all of them in, and they would have made more money than Spencer Leniu. Who else we got? Philly did okay. There's a bunch of guys that people had Simonson sitting on the bench. Like, just sit Walker in there or something. They're going to make more money. They're going to get the games. Just something to think about for next year is those types of guys that are coming through and are meant to be guns. It might be Suwali next year that he might not be playing round one, but we just throw him on there because if they're like one spot off playing, they're going to get good game time all year. Johnson's actually on the bench. I didn't notice that. What? I literally just read an article saying it was a couple of weeks away. So, okay. Anyway, still got to hold Townsend for a week anyway and see what happens. Oh, God. There goes my whole argument. Dog side. Don't really want to talk about him, do I? You can play Averillo this week. It's probably the only thing. Thompson as an option, I think you can go for him if you like. The thing is, he hasn't got the pedigree. He scored fairly well in the back half of last year once he got acclimatized to the game, and I think he's got a nice work rate. Will he turn into an out-and-out keeper? I'm not exactly sure, and that's the worry for him. I think he's going to score well in the interim, like right now, but is that going to be enough to turn him into a keeper? And if he is, you've got him at a cut price right now. He's cheaper than Elliott. He's going to score well. 50-odd minutes in the middle. I think you're really happy with that as a front rower. They've got a weird back row at the moment. Adam Elliott, Chris Smith, and Corey Waddell in the 13 jersey. Biggest one here is Jackson Torpene is dropped now. When you're not sure of these types of guys on your interchange bench, then like I said, when we're looking at Torpene, we're like, well, is he going to get good game time? He might do okay, but what happens when someone comes back? What happens if they feel like the team's not playing that well? Will they change it up? And that's what they've done, unfortunately, with Torpene. And unlucky if you do own him. But Brad Dietz comes back if anyone held him. All right, Cowboys Raiders. What do I have to say on the Cowboys? Benny Hampton, I suppose. Like this week with Latrell, Mom, Pap, all these guys out. Hampton is going to be such a popular option. Just as like you kind of have to plug him in. Who else at that cheap winger or center cover? Who have we got in there that's cheap at the moment that you can bring in? There's kind of no one. So Hampton playing 7 and scoring okay, I think is going to be, unfortunately, a decent option. Taumalolo's still out. Lockie Burr at the 13 role again. Don't bring in Ben Condon, please. Doesn't score enough points. Val Holmes is a decent option, but again, he's played 2 games where they've actually won. They're not going to win, I'd imagine, against the Raiders, especially when they've shook it up. And the big out for the Raiders, Josh Hodgson is gone. Wow. Joseph Tarpany's been moved to the 21. Josh Papali in the 17 role. Both Corys are back. Harry Renara and Horsburgh have been smashing it in the Reggies, and they've earned their spot back, which is completely fair. Simonson's also out, and Sebastian Chris comes back in. So it looks like they're the 4 that have really been hurt by or what Ricky was saying. Josh Papali'i, he's not going to drop him because he's always having a decent crack, but Tarpany hasn't played well the last bunch of weeks. And then you've got Simonson, who's always been a bit mud, and Hodgson. So is he captain? He's captain, right? It's a big statement, and fair enough to them. They didn't play very good last week, and the biggest one from this is that Tommy Starling comes back into the number 9 jersey. So, wow, if Hodgson stays out for a while, he could be a great option because he's lost some good cash, and he scored amazing last year. Tommy Starling, what's he sitting at now? Not going to work. 407k now. Holy smokes. For an average of 14. So look at these scores last year when he came in. He was a superstar. He even got 99 one game, the last game of the year. And whoever picked him up did amazingly well. So he's going to be really cool if Hodgson loses his spot indefinitely. But it'd be very scary. I'm not sure if he's going to. Sutton keeps doing well, and in the number 13 jersey, he's going to get good minutes again. And again, well done if you picked him up. You can't really complain with that, can you? Let's move down to our last couple of games. So Tigers and Eagles. On the Tigers side, Cheekham's playing in the 4 jersey. Simpkin keeps his number 9. Jacob Little is at number 18 jersey, so same as last week. Laidlaw is out again. some really cool options, I feel, is Lucy Leilua. I think he's a great option this week. You've got to bring in Simpkin if you haven't. Dewey's also a decent option. Brooks is getting on the close of having to trade him out. Dane Laurie you got to keep. Roberts, I think, with all the issues at the moment, you're probably going to have to play him this week, but I think he's best just sitting in your cover in the centres. Who else we got? Moses there. Eagle side. Ola Kawatu. He is playing in the 11 jersey. Will he start there again? No idea. Josh Alloway moves back to the bench, so he could come back in and get a start. Kepi could start again. Who knows? But we need Ola to get big minutes for him to be a cool option, because he does play well. He runs the ball hard and tackles hard, and that's all I'd expect from him. So Tommy Chop's going to be a big option this week, and I feel like with all the issues in the wing, fullback, and centres, I think you can just go for it and pray and hope for the best that he doesn't get injured, because if he does, all our wing, fullback, and centres are going to be decimated. So pray and hope, I think, with him. Lockie Croker, you can keep holding for a little bit, but if you want to, you can move him on. If you've held this long, you've made some good coin. That's about it. Let's move on. Last two, I believe. All right, Roosters haven't been playing as well, but against the Dragons, you'd hope for a fairly close game. And the big one here is that Sam Verrills is back in the squad. And I'd really, really wait a week on him. I know he's pretty cheap, but in terms of his output, I'd definitely be looking to see what he does in the first week, how many minutes he gets. You got Benjamin Marsh still on the bench there. You'd be looking for Sam Walker to bounce back. I wouldn't be expecting a 24 against the Dragons. I'd also expect Angus and Satili, Radley even to do a lot better. Teddy as well. Hopefully Joe Manu, please. Who else are we going to talk about? Taka Oho. He is still named. But let's have a look at the bench. They got Lindsay Collins there. They got Hargraves still named as well. So a few guys that they're not exactly sure about at this stage in terms of their availability. So, with Tack, he's got some rib issues. They were looking maybe anywhere between 1 and 4 weeks. So if injury named straight away, which would mean he's closer than expected. And if that's the case, I'd definitely be holding him at this stage. On the Dragons side, Jack Bird's a great option at the moment. So is Lomax. They do have Ben Hunt named in the 21, who could possibly come back. I'd imagine if he's in the 21, he's going to be back in the next few weeks. McCulloch's a great option coming closer to the bye rounds, as they'll play round 13. And I think you can definitely hold Alvaro and Phil Mayanu closer to that bye round as well. Maguire, it's all very much the same team, which is good for them. And our last game of the week is Storm, and Pap's out. No. NRL Physio just put out a post saying that it could be a grade 2 AC joint injury, which could mean somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks for the majority of comebacks, is what he said, which is scary, because if it's 4 weeks, that takes him 7, 8, 9, 10. That almost takes him to bloody Origin, and you'd think he'd make Origin. So it's like, wow. If I knew it was 4 weeks, I'd be trading him out for sure. But if it's 2 weeks, it's like, you can still get a really good month out of him before Origin, and I think you'd lose ranks if you traded him out now. If you've got someone like Latrell who's going to get 3 to 4 weeks, I'd say you'd trade out Trell first. That's my thoughts. Munster, stop going to trade him out, please. People trying to trade Munster to Cleary. Munster's averaging 65 or something stupid. Keep him. Hughes did well, and you can keep him again this week. Brandon Smith's still in the 9 jersey, but if you still have him, you can hold. He did play a lot better on the weekend in terms of his output. Welch has been great. Hold on to him until the buys. Harry Grant in 14. Keep waiting until he gets a start. Once he gets a start, get him in. If it gets closer to buy rounds, obviously don't. But our Warriors side, we have Jack Murchie in the centres, which, again, what's scaring me about this is how often they change their team and fill gaps here and there. They've changed their back rowers so many times, and that's what I'm worried about with Josh Curran. He's cheap. He's a great player. I really like him. I really want him in my team, but I'm so worried that he's just going to get dropped back to the bench or out of the team very, very quickly. They got Murdoch Masila coming in and playing in the 12 jersey this week. And it's good to see that Curran's been named there twice, and he hasn't been the one that's been changed. And Murchie's going to play in the centres, where he did okay, filling in a little bit on the weekend. But, Curran, I really like him, but scared. That's all I got to say. Just beware that if you bring him in, he may get dropped to the bench or whatever going forward. Toyo at 13, great option. Get him in before the buys. He'll be good for you. Jazz off the bench. Keeps doing well. Bunty and Leeson Armour you can hold on to. And Bailey Sirenen's back. And he was kind of playing off the bench anyway, so I wouldn't be worried about him taking Curran's spot, but anything can happen to the Warriors, right? That's about all, I think. Yeah, that's the team list for this week. Let me know your thoughts on that style of analysis. I just went through, obviously, the changes, but then, if a guy's a buy, hold, sell, let me know if you thought that was a good way of doing it, and hopefully your team isn't decimated. And so what do you reckon? If you've got Mom, Latrell, Pap, who else is there? There's one more that's going to be dropped. Anyone have Josh Hodgson? If you've got any of them, you're in a bit of strife. And I think the smartest thing would be is to trade in someone that's cover, and then maybe get a top line gun for those, for a couple of those guys. If you can trade a Latrell, for example, and then some mid ranger that you're not too happy with at the moment, if you can get like a Spencer Lanu or something like that, you can drop down to a cheapie that covers that position, and then you can upgrade to a gun in the other one. I think that would be ideal. But there you go, guys. That's the thoughts on that at the moment. Please hit like and subscribe. I appreciate all your love and support, and we'll see you in the next ones when I break down some of the positions and in terms of some bring-ins around certain prices, etc., etc. But hope you enjoyed that. Catch you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.